It's happening, Brian.
It is happening. Crypto's still here. Tariffs are in place.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
What's going to happen? That's my question.
The sky's going to fall.
It's probably going to fall.
I think so.
That's about how I feel. But you know what, dude? We're back. It's been a while, man. I know we both have been super busy and
Yes,
the market's been kind of not exciting, but I feel good about the market because
it's
if you
wearing you out. It's trying to wear people out.
it is
It's
trying to
just
wear
still
people out.
going down. The trend is still down.
Right, exactly. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on right now that a lot of people don't understand is going to affect the market because I don't anybody who thinks that we're in a bear market, I'm sorry, but I totally disagree with you on that. It's just I really don't think that we this is just history repeating itself. We've said it so many times on this channel, but I seriously think that we are in such an awesome position right now to be buying. But before we talk about all this stuff, Brian, what do we need to do?
Isn't there a disclosure we have to put out?
Something like that.
Hey,
Would
I
you like
know
to
it.
do
I
the
know.
honors?
Sure.
Okay.
Crypto Cody and I are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice.
Mm.
It's just our views and opinions, and us liking the crypto market. We like to chat about it, share what we do in it. But if you do get involved with it, make sure you do your own research
Do your own research
and only risk money you're willing to lose.
and only risk money you're willing to lose. That right there is like the biggest problem that people get in trouble with. I was actually just talking with a
Right?
friend of mine
Yes,
the other
they're
day.
they're risking their mortgage payment.
No,
Not a
bro,
good thing to do.
listen, I was just talking with a friend of mine yesterday about this. Bless my friend. I really hope that he is blessed with his decision he made because it was a bad one. But it wasn't horrendous because he did make out anyways, he invested his home equity line of credit into the crypto market right before the boom, like and dude, that's just a scary thing. That is a scary thing.
That's rolling the dice.
That's rolling the
You
dice.
you know what?
So we did the math. We did the math on how much money he is actually. I'm calling it renting crypto. That's what a
Okay.
lot of people are doing is they're renting crypto. And talk about a talk about a double whammy on the Dave Ramsey philosophy, where not only are you investing in something he doesn't like to invest in, which is crypto, which I totally disagree with him on. He's also using credit to invest in crypto. That is just like, whoa,
His
like next
home's
level.
credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just like credit, but
Yeah.
his
So
house.
folks, do not do that. Do not invest in crypto unless you are willing to lose what you're investing in. And definitely don't invest money you don't have because that is just talk about risk. That's like going to the casino and roll. It's like you said, rolling the dice. I just, I'm not trying to expand our disclaimer here. I'm just saying I think a lot of people get really, really anxious around times like this in the market where they are like all they're hearing from all these YouTube channels is
The bottom's in.
dollar cost averaging, and it's just like all I have left for money is a credit card, and it's like, dude, don't do it,
Or you're
don't
hearing people saying
do
the
it.
bottom's in. The
Yeah,
bottom could be in.
oh,
I mean,
it could, but
um,
don't do it.
but don't do it. I
Don't do it.
definitely there are a couple charts I looked at. It looked like a higher low was made.
Dude, let's dive into that first because I would love to just kind of check
All
out the
right.
charts. And hey guys, by the
Oh,
way, if you could do us also a solid like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification, that would mean the world to us. Brian and I we're back doing some more stuff. We've been really busy, but with our own personal business lives. But we're back. We're excited. And also I have another guy that actually wants to come on the channel with us at some point. So we'll see if he joins us. That'll be kind of fun.
I gotta find the chart I was looking at.
Yeah.
So you're just
Like the
gonna give
total
me a
the,
moment before
the
I share
total
my
chart.
screen.
So, all right. So you guys are seeing the title. So crypto versus tariffs. I want to hear your guys' opinions. If you guys put it in the comment section, do you guys think that the tariffs that Donald Trump has officially formulated and launched, as he would call Liberation Day, do you guys think that the Liberation Day is actually in favor of crypto, or do you think the Liberation Day is actually not so liberating for crypto? Because that's, I think, something that is a lot of people are blaming Trump for the stock market crashes I haven't heard a whole lot of people blaming him for crypto crash stuff because I just think we've been seeing a solid correction that's like based on historical events with crypto. The stock
Right,
market is
that,
different
but
because that's a totally
I
different kind of
think,
trade war.
I think, of course, what's going on with the tariffs, trade war, how it's affecting the stock market and whatnot.
Yeah,
It's having, it's affecting crypto in the sense of maybe people are getting away from risk on assets,
right.
right? So less money's going into it, and then you got the people that are panicking and going, "Oh my God, the bottom's gonna fall out," and you might have some people selling. Don't sell. If
Yeah,
you
exactly.
if you don't need the money, don't sell a crypto for loss, right? Unless it's something like, FTX where it's not coming back.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right, So anyway, but let me go to the flat. I got the chart I was looking at earlier, so I'm
Do
going to
it.
share my screen.
Oh, yeah, geez, I gotta
And
let you. There you go.
yeah, and it's actually the total three chart, which is the altcoin market chart minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. So to me here, I mean, if this continues, this last candle wick on the daily here is green. I'll open it up a little bit, right? So it's green right here. So depending if this low right here on Thursday stays and we start going back up the next couple of days, at least going back up to the 20-day moving average or the 200-day moving average on this is the total three, that would constitute a new higher low, which is usually a bullish sign. So, but we'll have to see if it makes a new higher high along with that. So that could be, starting sign of the market turning around. If we zoom out to the weekly, we're still going in the downtrend. Um, Definitely right on the 50-day moving average right now. I, you know, it could go down a little more, but I think we're getting close to the bottom. So if people, I mean, I think I really think we're within, 10% of the bottom. So on the total altcoin market, that would probably put it right around $700 billion. So there's, if it goes
Seven.
down another 10%, we're right around 680 billion on the altcoin market. That's what I think. I think we're getting close to the bottom on here, and we're going to start seeing the turnaround. If you go to, we'll look at the total. We'll just look at the total market right now. And here's the total market on the weekly. Again, it's testing the 50-day moving average as support. It's definitely testing it. See if that holds. If not, so right now we're right around $2.6 trillion market cap. If that doesn't hold, I really think we're going to go down. I mean, yeah, I could see us going down a little further in this range, like 2.35 trillion. But well, what I want to see is I want to see Trump just leave the tariffs, what he's put in place, just leave it. No more, well, I'll do this, I'll do that. Let's drop this, let's increase this one, let's decrease this one. Just let things settle and see what happens with the traditional markets as well. And, this is going to take a little bit of time. It doesn't happen overnight. So, but to me, the overall crypto market is looking pretty strong. I mean, it's definitely 50 days moving average is holding. So I don't really follow the stock market much. I have um, a very good financial guy that does that for me. So, we only have so much time. So trying to do both would be tough. So, but we'll go to Bitcoin and look at that real quick. And again, Bitcoin, so me, I really, right now, full disclosure, I own Bitcoin. Cody owns Bitcoin. I do have an actual buy order in right now for some more Bitcoin at 78,900, right around that level. So I think it's going to at least go back down to there. It's probably going to go lower because if it's in that range, it's going to go down to its 50-day moving average, which I think it's probably going to hit. So, which is right at about 78,000. Could it go lower? I still think Cody 75,000's in play. I think the lowest it probably would go, it'd probably go back down and retest the
I mean,
previous all-time high of like 69,000.
I'll actually be honest. I'm surprised that it hasn't hit my 75,000 yet
It came
because
close
it
right
came
here.
so
It was
close.
like, on March 10th,
Yeah,
it's down like
which
77,000.
was
But
my
this is the
birthday, by the
weekly.
way, in honor of Code. The crypto market said Cody predicted it, so we're going to go down to our lowest point on his birthday.
Right. And here's the daily chart for Bitcoin, which, it's in if it falls below like 80,000, if it gets down in this area right in here, it's once it gets to this area, it's a point of pretty much no return. If it breaks 80,000, pretty much it's going down to 76,000, 77, 76,000. And if 74,000 doesn't really hold, then to me it's going down to 72,000. And if that doesn't hold, it's going to go back. It could go back all the way down to like 60, 68,000, 69,000. I really wouldn't be surprised if the previous all-time high of 69,000 in the 2021 bull market cycle, that we revisit that for a moment on Bitcoin. And I really think, to me, like I said, a few weeks ago, I figured like the middle of April, we're going to start seeing crypto turn around. So that was what I was thinking. So just call it in another week or so. So who knows? I really think it seems like every Saturday night or Sunday, Monday, that time frame, we see like crypto try to bounce up maybe on a Friday or Saturday, but it gets rejected, and then we make new lows either Sunday night or Monday morning. And I've been watching this for a few weeks now, and I, I've been buying. I have been buying some stuff on the way down, and I picked up one new coin, Ondo. But even I thought I had really low prices. A few orders got filled. A few of mine still haven't because I have some really low ball orders in. And I was kind of surprised some of them got filled, but they did. And I was like, hmm. And now they're lower. It makes me want to buy more. So, but one coin I'm really liking lately is Sarah. I've been trying to build my position in Sol a little more. What else? Well, I have a FET order in. I like to buy a little more FET going along with the AI stuff. Sarah, pretty much dealing with DeFi. And so I do still have a position in WCFG. I mean, I've been tracking that. I really think we're still going to see a turnaround on that. Since the prices were so low, I started rebuilding a position in that because I still believe in the coin. What other ones? Uh, and also Solana, I think they launched the ETF, another thing. So I'm watching XRP. I'd like to get a little more XRP, but Parcel's another real world asset one, C pool. So I've been kind of just these smaller cap coins, just they're so low. Like right now, Parcel is one that I thought I got a good price at like just under 9 cents. It's down to 7 cents right now. And I think it's definitely sticking around. So, and some of these are making new all-time lows. Like another one that I read a great article that was on Coin Market Cap actually about CLV. And I know from prior videos, Cody and I were unsure with what we found for some research on CLV, what direction it was going. A little nervous. The price was really dropping fast. We decided to get rid of our position because of the uncertainty. But I read this other article on CoinMarketCap and just looking at the charts and just the fundamentals and what they're still trying to do. And it's such a small cap and it's down to its all-time low price at, around 2 cents. I'm considering maybe buying another position in that because
in
who knows? I mean,
CLV.
like I said, it's a high risk one. It'd be maybe a percent of my portfolio. Who knows? It's not going to be a large percentage. But I really think there's still life left in CLV. Will it
Yeah,
get
there
back to
could
its
be.
all-time high of $1.88? Probably not. But could it go from 2 cents up to like 20 cents or 2 cents to 50 or 60 or 80 cents, I think that's very possible. But we'll have to wait and see. But just full disclosure, yeah, so there's a few coins out there that just they're making all-time lows and they're like solid projects. And you know it's not the fundamentals or what the project is doing or lack of what they're doing that's driving the price down. It's just the tariffs and market sentiment and everything else is just right now everything's going down, right? Bitcoin's trying to hold 82,000, but I think everything's going to just bounce back. If it's a solid project and it's really, has strong backing, it's going to come back and it's going to go back up. But this
It's
might weed out some of the weaker projects, this downturn. But
well,
who
and
knows? I mean, this is nothing unusual to have these drops in a bull market, though.
well, speaking of strong projects, there's actually Forbes magazine actually came out with a list of 10 cryptocurrencies that they found to be the strongest ones of all, or at least the best ones to invest in. And I thought this was really, really interesting to actually read through and check out. So I wanted to
Yep.
share this with you. So the top 10 cryptocurrencies of April 1st, 2025 by Forbes.com. And they were saying, obviously, everyone's going to agree it's a no-brainer. Bitcoin and Ethereum being the first two on that chart. Okay.
Yep.
But what's interesting is when you read the actual like analytics of this and like just the different things that like the statistics of this or whatever. But year over year returns 20% year over year. Bitcoin has always given that modest return. That's really, really important to think
Well, I
about.
think that's just for the last year.
Yeah, I know, but we're talking about bull run stuff right
Right.
now. So I think it's important to understand that when you compare this to, traditional conservative investments, Bitcoin, in my opinion, especially nowadays in 2025, I would classify it as a conservative investment. A lot
Yeah,
of
it's
conservative
definitely
people would,
not as high a risk as all
right,
the other altcoins and cryptos. It
in
is
the crypto
definitely its
world,
risk tolerance is lowering.
right, in the crypto world, it's always been conservative. But I'm
Yes.
starting to say that compared to other major assets, it's actually falling into the conservative investing category. And I say that just because of how much money is in it now. Like to have 1.7 trillion plus dollars into it. Now you're talking about a really strong asset that's falling into line with the conservative movement of investing. So, and then same thing with Ethereum. It's actually, this is kind of crazy. 47%
It's
return.
down. There's a negative in front of
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
number.
Yeah. 40.
That's why I think it's just for the last year.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So this actually, that's really amazing if you think about it. 47% in the negative right now. That's actually really fascinating. So, okay. So my forgetting about the percentages for a second, I thought it was really interesting that they mentioned Tether. You know, XRP makes a lot of sense to me. That's actually up 250% right now, which is insane. A 2.5x on that.
Oh yeah.
Binance Coin, this is something I've always personally loved myself, just because it's an exchange coin for the one of the largest exchanges. So to me, it just makes sense. But look how much it's held so far, where we're at
Yep.
4%. This one's crazy. Like you were just talking about Solana. So you're probably right, dude. I mean, what a great
I
time to
mean, I
purchase
did
that,
pick up
maybe.
some Solana. I have like a step buying. I'm buying some at this level, lower, lower, lower. But my last purchase of Solana, I picked up at $115. I bought some Solana.
Nice. Yeah, that's good.
So,
So no, I think that's really fascinating though, that there might be something there. And then USD coin, I think that's a really interesting thing to invest in. But there's a lot of conservative investing that you
well,
can
what
do with
happens is like
stable
right
coins,
now,
anyways.
I have a chunk of cash on Coinbase, right? That
Right.
some of it's tied. I put it into USDC, right? So some of it is, and I'm understanding this more and more. Some of it is tied up in buy orders, right? But I still have it. So when I'm using USDC, while it's in my wallet on Coinbase Exchange, I'm getting like 4 or 5% return on that USDC. As long as it's there, I'm
Yeah.
getting paid on it.
Yeah,
So I can
exactly.
understand, especially to me, it seems like the smaller investors might not do this, but the larger investors, the investors that, they're putting 100,000 here, 500,000 here, the big money, I could see them saying, all right, you know what, I'm going to put a couple 100,000 in USDC and
Yeah.
just get 4 or 5% on that.
Yeah.
Right? It's
No,
a
that makes sense.
no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Exactly. And it's still, to me, is pretty level grounded with being in a conservative investing category like Bitcoin. Is actually, you might as well just do that. Whereas a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll risk even more, and they'll put into, say, something like Atom or Tron or any of these other coins that you just don't know where they're going to fluctuate in price, and they'll try to, get in on the super representative votings or staking or whatever it is that they're doing, so that they can actually yield even more return on that particular asset. But maybe it's smarter to focus on the stable coins when it comes to that kind of yielding of investment, that kind of residual return. So I think, that's interesting that they have that there. Next one is Dogecoin, which I thought was really interesting also. That's 18% down right now.
I just can't.
I have The
I
only
just,
reason why I think this is actually important for like society is because of what it means and what it stands for at this
yeah.
point. And it's a meme coin, folks. That's all it is. But it's no to me it's like a flag. It's like a flag token, kind of representing the responsibilities of cryptocurrency. And it's actually even gained more of a meaning now that Elon Musk has gotten involved. Because let's be honest, anybody that talks about Dogecoin can't not think about Doge, the team.
And Elon Musk.
Right. So it's just like there's symbolization there, which is exactly what a
No,
meme coin is all
never.
about.
There's no symbolization there.
It's what the meme coin community is all about, is representing something
It's
strong. It's
all
like
about the community. That's what
it's
meme
it's
coins
it's
are about.
waving the flag,
That's
it's
all it's about. It's
it's all it
community. If it
is.
has a strong community, it'll do well. You know,
Exactly. And it's almost like, yeah, it's like me buying myself an
it's like
American flag and putting it
GameStop and
outside.
all that AMC.
Yeah.
But you hear what GameStop's doing, right? They're taking a page out of MicroStrategy's playbook. They're buying Bitcoin.
Dude, games
They are GameStop.
these
They
guys
are
need
buying.
they
They're buying. I mean, like I'm talking hundreds of millions worth of Bitcoin. They're buying. They're building a portfolio of Bitcoin like MicroStrategies is doing. Michael Saylor.
Yeah, these guys want another legendary story
Oh yeah,
in their portfolio here. All
right.
right, so next one is Cardano ADA, which honestly I think is awesome. I've always liked Cardano.
I do too. I mean, I used to own it. I
I think
haven't.
I argue that geez, what's the name of the guy who Professor, what's his name?
I don't know.
Oh geez, I'm forgetting his name right now. But anyways, the guy who actually created it and heads it up. I think he's definitely in cahoots with President Donald Trump in conversations and
In
whatnot.
cahoots. God, I love
Yeah,
that
I do
saying.
think that
In
I
cahoots.
think that there's behind the scenes conversations going on in the crypto
Well,
world, and I think
Trump's
that,
family crypto company there, I think they're creating a stable coin or something.
yeah, probably,
They're doing
but
something.
I really think that Donald Trump is involved pretty heavily in conversation, or maybe not him, but I do think that, the Secretary of Commerce is definitely in conversation quite a bit with the head of Coinbase. I think the head of
Well,
Cardano,
they're having big meetings, all of them. Oh
all of
yeah,
them. Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
there
And
is.
I think that Cardano's a big part of that. That's my opinion. And here's the big one, dude, that I'm pumped about. The last one, number 10, Tron, dude. Freaking Tron made it in 10th place on Forbes.com, dude. I mean, come on. And look at this, guys. Basically sustaining a 1x, basically a freaking 1x
Yeah.
in the downturn.
If anybody cannot tell, Crypto Cody really likes Tron.
I love
Him and
Tron.
I owned it
Tron is
from
such an awesome
back in
crypto.
2017.
Like the way that people, okay, so listen, I'm not a veteran in the crypto world. I would never say that, okay? Because the true veterans are the ones who started back before 2010, in my opinion. Those are the true veterans. And those guys,
2013.
yeah, or 2013, sure, something like that. I didn't get started until 2000, late 2016. Okay, that's when I got started in crypto. And Tron was one of the big things for me that was the first one that I vetted, the first one that I spent a lot of time researching on. And the reason why I love Tron so much is because to me, it's basically what those vets back in 2008 and 2013 thought of Ethereum. That is my feelings towards TRX and Tron and the Tron community back in 2017. So that pretty much Tron is my Ethereum. If like I would preferably buy Tron over Ethereum because of the just like the community, how great it is. I actually think it's a quicker system, a better system than Ethereum. I just think that Ethereum is highly more respected because of how old it is. And that's just my
So,
opinion.
so that's where, like you're saying, you'd purchase Tron over Ethereum. So right
Yes.
now, I'm kind of on that level of I see much more upside in adoption in Solana than with Ethereum. I really think Solana is going to have massive growth
I think you're right about that. I do. I really
because of the speed and the transactions
yeah.
and it's a direct competitor of Ethereum. They do the same things. It's
Yeah.
just,
No, it is, but it's like
paying a couple cents per transactions or you're paying several dollars for transactions on Ethereum compared to
right.
Sol.
I yeah, I mean, so you and that's the thing is the next big thing that came out after Tron was Solana.
I still wish I still kick myself. I was like, yeah, someone's like, you buying any Solana? It's down like around $10. I'm like,
Yeah.
I wasn't ready yet. I still wasn't sure, because they were, they got hacked and they had the big crash from the FTX thing because they were so heavily held within FTX and whatnot. So I was a little skeptical,
So
but
so this is my analysis of the three coins, all right, and the three projects. Is I would say Ethereum will probably remain to be the most highly respected and high market cap coin out of all three. I think that Solana will be the highest gain opportunity out of all three coins. And I think that Tron will be the strongest network for development for developers and dApps, decentralized applications and whatnot. That's my personal analysis of it in the short term, maybe even the midterm. Long term, not quite sure. That's an interesting thing to think about. But
we'll
that's
have to
my
see.
personal
Because
analysis.
you got to remember, Ethereum has the most engineers, coders, people constantly working and improving
Yeah,
that
which
that
is why
that.
it will remain to be the highest market cap, in my opinion. But I do think that you are right about the gains on Solana. I just think that Tron is a better, also very highly respected community. Like if you're going to build on a platform, you're going to have way better progress using the Tron platform than you are the Ethereum platform.
Yeah, I can't speak to that because I don't know. I've never built anything on any of these platforms, so I can't really speak to
Yeah,
that.
right. But hey, maybe I'm wrong.
Because
I
I'm
mean,
thinking like you could say that for Cosmos and with Celestia and TIA with the
yeah.
modular
Well, no, I'm saying
technology.
specifically for decentralized
Well,
applications.
that they have D apps on there too.
Right. Yeah. No, I know they do.
So
It's just and the other thing too is like one thing that I love about TRX is that everything that they planned on doing pretty much got done.
yep,
You
they
know,
made their plan, their roadmap, and they stuck to it.
they stuck to it the whole way. And there was like the only critiques and criticism from the community that the Tron platform was given was pretty much to the CEO of the time, which was Justin Sun, because of his marketing strategy. His marketing strategy was always appeared to be a hype strategy. It was like the news before the news. Like he would just be like, something big is about to happen. I'm going to tell you. And everybody's just like, dude, why don't you just tell us? And then the next day, so that it almost felt like, I don't know, it was just weird. But he's kind of a marketing genius. But what's beautiful about him in this whole project is that he removed himself from the project, not from a negative stance, but from a positive stance to show the
Yeah, to make
strength of the
it so it's
community.
decentralized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that just made everybody respect him that much more, I think. So it's anyways, that's the Forbes thing. I thought that was really interesting. But with that being said, since we're talking about since Tron's in there, would you mind taking a look at the Tron chart? Because I actually am
Sure.
curious about that from a technical analysis stance. And then I did want to kind of talk about some news about China and its response to Donald Trump's tariffs and how that could potentially affect the crypto market, because that is kind of what our title is here. So,
So just remember, everybody, crypto is just like lagging, but Trump's already wrote it, signed an executive order, starting a Bitcoin reserve, and it's already has 200,000 plus Bitcoin in it because that's what the U.S. had held from, raids, confiscation, getting it from criminals, whatnot. So that's what they had. So that's in that reserve now. And a lot of other countries are going to be building a reserve. I want to say there's like 29 states that have it on the ballot or approved it or in the works of creating their own Bitcoin reserve on a state level as well. So none of that has changed with this market going down. That's all still happening. I almost think it's a freaking big play, and this is conspiracy theory. Like almost like Trump is playing the market with these tariffs, like purposely making the market crash. Why else would he do this? Just think if Harris got in office and she was doing this and the market was crashing, we would be all over her shit. Like she's ruining the economy, the world economy.
true.
But now we have Trump in here, and I can understand the other side saying, hey, what is he doing destroying the world economy? So to me, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I
Trump loves this country. He loves money. I think, maybe it's growing pains. We need change
I think
in
growing
the
pains is a
current system,
massive
right?
part
So
of it.
that has to happen.
Yeah.
But his flip-flop, the games he plays, and the bullshit he does, to
Yeah.
me, he's intensifying the market manipulation, almost like he's manipulating the market. For people that can see it, there's blood in the streets. Most people are going to get out, and the few will buy. Who's buying right now? Probably big money. I don't know. I almost think it's like the markets, it's going to rebound here probably in the next couple of weeks. Let these tariffs in play for 2 weeks or so. That's my take. Why would he do this? Why would he? I mean, this is on a global level. What's going on with the tariffs,
I
and
mean,
it's
dude,
going to
like,
affect global economies.
so, dude, can I just point something out? Like,
Yes.
before we, like, just to kind of play off of what you're talking about. Metaphorically, this is what I think is happening. I think growing pains is a massive part of it. But think about it like this. Say I've got 10 acres of land, all right? And I want to build trails on this land. I want to farm this land. I want to put chickens on this land. I want to grow crops. I want to, have a play set for my children. I want to have a pond, fish, all these things. All of these things, all right?
Yep.
Let's say that I want all of those things immediately. So what I do is I go to my friend Sam, I go to my friend Sandy, I go to my friend, fill in the blank, and I'm like, "Hey, can I borrow your equipment so I can work on this land?" Oh yeah, sure, but it's going to cost you X amount of money to borrow it every single day. Okay, yeah, all right. Hey, can I borrow your chickens so I can get some eggs on my land? Okay, yeah, sure, yeah, you can, but it's going to cost you this much, and so on and so forth as it goes on. Okay, so now everything that's on your land is not yours; it's everybody else's, and you owe a crap ton of money for all these things. What I think is happening is Donald Trump is saying enough, enough renting equipment and stock and animals and food and everything from all of these other people. It's time to start putting our own crops, our own chickens, our own equipment on our property, and we're going to take care of it ourselves. And the repercussions of that is that we
Yep.
start separating ourselves from other
Right.
countries and we're not using their stuff
I'm
anymore.
not against that. I'm against the way he was going about it for the last month.
Right? No, I know. I'm just saying,
Right.
like,
And
I think
he
that people are
adversely
experiencing
affected the
those
market
growing
because of
pains.
that, because there
Yes.
was so much uncertainty.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just
right?
I
That's
just
that's
think
that's the big thing right now in the markets is the uncertainty. I'm talking like the stock markets and stuff. They don't know exactly how everything's going to fall into place. And he made it worse by just one day he's China's 50% tariff. The next day it's 20% tariffs. And the markets are trying to figure out what the fuck he's doing. What is
yeah,
he
right.
doing?
Right.
And it was
Right.
that the last month.
Yeah.
It's like just stick with something,
It's dude,
and he's starting to piss off his base. I'm telling you, I'm hearing it from people.
his base, you mean like his home base?
His supporters, Trump supporters. His base supporters, he's starting to piss them off because of what he's doing with the mini. It's all with his wishy-washy. Like one day it's 50% tariffs on China. The next day it was 20 or Mexico. I'm doing, just his talk, his wishy-washy. You don't know what's going to happen with the markets. That's what I was frustrated with him. Not the tariffs. It was the lack of this is it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
wishy-washy, but it's not
he's playing a game.
it's bluffing is what it is.
But you don't bluff like that.
Well, you have to.
But his bluff like that is affecting the world.
You can't just publicly
But
announce,
you
I'm going to do a
don't bluff.
15. Yeah, I
You
know, but you
don't
can't.
bluff. You
Here's the
just
thing.
say you
Okay.
either drop your tariffs or this is it.
Yeah, well, no, you can't
You
do
know,
that.
you
You
but he
can't.
can.
You can't.
Why not? He
Because
said he's doing it,
I'll tell you
and
why.
then he takes it
Because
back, and then he puts it
what's one of
back
the
on.
biggest strengths that Trump has already proven in the first 90 days that Joe Biden failed to do for the entire 4 years of his administration? That's making face public
I'm just talking
press. Hold on,
the
I'm getting to
tariffs
the.
on the
I'm making
economy.
a point. I'm making a point. He's been showing his face to the public every single day, whereas Biden failed to do that. And the reason why he's doing that is to show the public trust. But here's the problem with doing that is that he releases more information and that should be behind closed doors. And when you release more information that should be behind closed doors, other countries are watching. So when people say, "Excuse me, Mr. Trump, what kind of tariff are you going to put down?" Well, I don't know. Maybe we're going to put down a 15% tariff. I don't know. Maybe we're going to put to a 25% tariff. Every single country is watching that public announcement.
I
So
know, and he
the
doesn't need
reality
to say
is that
that
behind
stuff.
closed doors, he's like, these countries need to be shocked on their tariffs. I'm not going to tell them publicly what the tariff's going to be. They're going to expect 10% tariff. It's going to be 25% because they need to be shocked because I'm in
But
control.
that's not what he
United
did.
States is in control, not the other
But
countries.
it's not what happened.
It is what happened. No one had
No,
a
he just
clue
did
what he was actually going to
reciprocal.
do.
They put the list out. Some of them are even. Some of them were half as high as the other ones. Like one
Right, but
country
that's
might
my
be,
point. Nothing was actually on point, like what he
but
said.
he's never on point, and he does it on purpose.
Exactly.
But he's either really fucking naive and stupid, or he's just very conniving, and I think he knows what he's doing.
Of
But
course he
when
knows
he's
what he's doing
wishy-washy like that, to me, he's affecting the markets like
purposefully.
in a negative way.
I don't think it's a negative way. I think it's positive.
I don't I think this drop is, especially in the stock market and everything else, is greater than it could have been. It could have been
That
less,
could be true. Yes.
is what I'm saying. He's created a much larger downtrend than should have been by
Are we
his
specifically talking about the crypto market or are we talking about like all markets?
own markets.
Okay, because
Because
I
this
think
is
that
affecting all
this
markets.
crypto downtrend, I think I think was going to happen regardless of all the bullshit.
Right, but
Regardless.
would it have been this big? I mean, we're down
If
at
you go back and look at
2.65
May,
trillion where we were up over 4 trillion.
if you go back and look at the May
Right.
cycle,
I'm just saying, that's just
it,
me. I know a lot of people too
how
that,
big of a drop is this full market here? 60%, 63%?
oh, we go to the chart. Hold on. We got off on a tangent.
Well, no, that's fine. Let's forget Tron for a second. Let's talk about this because I think this is more important to talk about. What's the full market downtrend that we've seen so far from its all-time high this year? Because If it's 63%, and I'm just throwing that number out there,
Are we taking from the beginning of the year? Or are we taking the high?
take it from the high.
All right. So we'll just go. The high was December,
Yeah.
right? That, so we've lost over a trillion million in the crypto market.
Okay.
1.1 trillion.
Okay.
That's crazy to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to say that we even had a top at that point.
So in the market right now is down 30%. It went as low as like 34%
Okay.
from its high.
So yeah, not even close to what I was
From
thinking.
year to day. So where's January?
Because if you go back, and we've done it before here on this channel.
So since January, the market's down like roughly 20%.
Right.
So I
So
wonder what the
if you go back 3 years ago in May, you will see the same thing happen.
All right, hold on. I'm sorry.
No matter what happens in the Oval Office, the same thing happens every single time.
This is the thing that's causing the downturn. If it wasn't this, something else would have. Just like in
Exactly.
2020, it was COVID was the reason. So where am I going 2020?
Not a year after the
Well,
Bitcoin halving. So
the
20
halving was in 20, so 2021.
so 2021
And then we had a
sometime
big
in,
ups.
yeah, we had the boom obviously, but that
We,
was after a retrace.
it doesn't really line up. It doesn't for the most part. What are you looking at? We're a little it's lags. Remember we're like a couple months
Well,
prior.
you're currently on the, are you on the weekly right now?
Yeah.
And that's
So
2021.
right here. This is April 2021
Yeah, no, 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 no. I'm not saying April. I'm saying May because I
of
think we are,
2021.
yes.
And it's roughly right here.
Yep. And then we crashed. How much
Right.
did we
That was the
crash?
COVID crash.
Whatever. I don't care what it is.
I
That's
just
not my
like to put a
point.
name
I'm
on it.
telling you right now that this is happening exactly how it happened then. Exactly. The only difference, how much is that percentage right there? Whopping 28%, baby.
No, no, no. It's
Exactly what I effing
49%.
said, dude. No, and the
It's
reason,
actually like 50%. We lost
well,
50%
did I
of the
not tell you?
market.
Did I not tell you
Oh, that's
61?
Bitcoin.
Did I not
Hold on,
tell
let me
you
go back.
60? When you and I first looked at this, before we looked at it, I said 61, 62% is what I think is going to crash at. That's what I think. And it's actually done way less than that. It's done 31%.
Hold on. That was Bitcoin. Let me go total market. Yeah. So like 49%.
We're in the ballpark, dude. And here's the thing. You're saying, well, that happened in May and we're in August. Okay, well, we're also early this time. You and I both have talked about it 100
Right.
times.
We're like a
It's
couple months early.
a couple months early. So this is happening now. Okay. Like we are early. What happened back then in May is happening now. And I actually agree with you that we are pretty much at the bottom of this thing. Maybe Bitcoin will see 75,000. That was originally like what I thought was going to happen, and we didn't quite get there. But we are doing exactly what happened in 2021 of May. I'll never forget it because I was on my anniversary when it happened.
Well, if we go down 40%, that's
That's where we're heading, I think. Otherwise, something is going to happen.
which that would make sense. Yeah, like, yeah. So that's why I think in the next, yeah, I think the bottom's close. I mean, looking at this chart, if the 50-day moving average holds, that we're probably at the bottom. If that breaks down, the bottom's probably going to be down around 2.3 trillion for the total market.
Which means I think the month of May is going to be actually the opposite of 2021's month of May. It's probably going to be the beginning of going up again.
It's going to, instead of being in July, it's going to
Correct.
start in May.
Exactly. And then May,
And
June,
this,
July, and August will be a bull run. And then we are going to
right?
tank for
So here
another
we
three
go.
years into a bear market. May, June, July, August. If you don't sell at the end of August, in my opinion, you are playing around with the bears. You are playing with the bears.
So right now, that chunk in 2021 was roughly 112 days. So just under 4 months. So you're saying May, June, July, and August, 4 months. If you don't sell by the end of August, you're going to
You're
start
playing with
losing
bears.
profits.
You are playing with bears at that point. That's what I seriously think is going to happen.
So how much do you think the market's going to grow in the next 4 months? Total
Well,
market.
what kind of an X did we do in 2021 as a whole
Okay.
market, not as Bitcoin, as a whole market?
All right. So in 2021, we did like 100 from that point. It was like 125%, we'll call it.
So we'll call it a 1.2x, 1.5.
Yeah, 1.25x.
Okay, so 1.25x for the whole market. Let's be generous and say a 2x for the whole market. What does that put us at for a multi-trillion-dollar market? Let's go from our assumption of the bottom, not from where we're at right now, but from the assumption of our bottom.
Where do we think the bottom's going to be?
I think it's possible that we might see downtrend the rest of this month.
All
So
right.
it
So
could
just say
actually
we
go
put
down to
us
four.
right
Let's do
around.
40% from the top.
I'll just put it, I think right around here would be good. All right. But let's see from the top.
So 40% from the top, 42%, whatever.
All right, so it's roughly going to go what I thought. All right. So I'm just going to go from, it's going to go back down to this volume point and control. So I'll go 2.5x from there or 2x.
I would do, well, I'm calling 2x. You can call that
Hold on.
generous or you can call that conservative, but we're talking about the whole market cap right now, not just a single crypto. That's a lot of money.
Right. So, so it'd be about, just call it six and three
4.5.
quarters to $7 trillion market.
Okay, so if we start looking at all of our cryptos from the lens of a $4.5 trillion market cap, I think that's a more realistic number to hit at the peak of our market.
4.5.
4.5. Based on historical events, you know?
So we were already pretty much almost at 4 trillion already
Right. So
back in
maybe,
2024, the end of this year and whatnot.
I mean, let's be honest,
So
dude.
4.5, you think the peak's going to be 4.5 trillion roughly. That means we get about 70% more to gain in the market.
As a full market, yes.
I mean,
But remember that still could put Bitcoin. If you got a four, okay, so what Bitcoin's dominance remains to be 60%, right?
see, but Bitcoin, to me, Bitcoin dominance is going to be dropping once we have altcoins
Sure,
take
but it
off. But
doesn't
right
change the
now,
fact
Bitcoin
that
dominance is
I think
not.
I think Bitcoin will be a $2 trillion market cap at the peak of our market.
So that means it's still going to be around 45% dominance.
Sure. I mean, if it was a 60% dominance, which is what it traditionally is, like on
Not at
average.
the peak of the bull market,
Not
it's
no, I
not.
know, I agree. I'm just saying on average that's 2.7 trillion, something like that. So
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 right
really,
now, the Bitcoin dominance is up around 63%, just below it.
right. So if it remained at that, it would be a 2.7 trillion at the peak of a 4.5 trillion. And 2.7 trillion, what is it at right now actually?
What?
For isn't it 700 billion?
What? Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Bitcoin's at like 1.7 trillion
I'm
right
sorry,
now.
1.7 trillion. Yeah. Why was I saying 700? So 1.7 trillion times 2 is roughly 3.4. That's too much. Dude, I think
So
Bitcoin. I think
uh,
Bitcoin could hit 150,000 by the end of this market. It's
I'm
possible.
still saying 207,308. I'm still sticking with my 200,000 plus.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's totally possible. I mean,
So if
it's
Bitcoin's two
who
hundred
even
thousand
knows?
dollars, that's a 4 billion. That's a $4 trillion market cap for Bitcoin alone.
I'm just saying that I think it's wise to look at history and then base your numbers from a conservative stance. That's a conservative way to look at it,
Yeah, I'm
you know?
playing. I'm wading into there. How much big money's involved? The ETFs. How much more money now has access to crypto? Um,
So
but
okay,
I'm telling
let's
you, next
reevaluate our
time we
numbers
see
right
the
now.
fear and greed index up around over, 80%,
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably de-risk some stuff.
So all right, so my new numbers as it is right. Well, I don't know if they're new. I can't even remember.
Yeah, who knows?
But I'm doing 150,000 Bitcoin at the top of the bull run. I'm doing a 4.5 trillion dollar total market cap at the top of the bull run. And I think that it's all going to basically end at the end of August.
That's a lot of money in 4 months. So me saying what I'm gonna say sounds even crazier.
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
All right, I think it's going to be a $4 trillion plus market cap for Bitcoin. And I think the over, because that's $207,000 Bitcoin is a $4 trillion market cap. You all right there?
Yeah, I thought I had something in my coffee. Keep going.
And I think the total market cap is going to be between 9 and 10 trillion.
Wow. Well, there it
Mhm.
is. Cheese and crow.
I know that sounds
Oh
kind of stupid, but
no, it's great. I love it. We're gonna make a short out of it so we can go back and look at it and see who got closer.
right.
But hey, dude, let me pull up one more thing and then we can call it because I
All
know
right,
we both got to go.
cool. Yeah.
Um, so just regarding the tariffs, guys, because I know that Brian and I threw out our personal opinions on the tariffs. Let's kind of look into this is from FX
And
or
I think
FX
I
Store.
agree with the tariffs in general, just so everybody realizes that.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm against the tariffs. I was against how Trump was wishy-washy with them, you know. So anyway, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I and just for the record, just because I got a Trump sign over here doesn't mean that I agree with every single thing that he does. I just think that he's playing his cards way better than what Biden
And
did.
yeah,
That's for
he's
sure.
he's in front of the camera more. I think both to show the American people, yeah, your president's working, but also we all know he loves to be in front of the camera.
He does love to be in front of the camera, but
He eats
I
that
think that
shit up.
everybody loves him to be in front of the
No,
camera.
not like him. I mean, he eats that up.
Yeah, he does. He
He
does.
definitely wants to be a media star
He
along with being president.
dude, it's one of his superpowers. One of his superpowers is marketing.
So anyway,
Literally, think about that. It's one of
so
his superpowers
so
is marketing.
that's a driving force, not
Yes.
just to show the people he's doing a job. It's more personal too of being in front of the camera.
Now,
And
if
Biden
Biden,
couldn't be in front of the camera because they couldn't have him making a fool of himself all the time.
because Trump is
He shouldn't
screwing
have
up,
been Biden shouldn't have been president.
dude,
That right
literally,
there
it's
is such a big thing in my mind that the Democratic Party
allowed
went
that to
ahead
happen.
and got him elected
Yeah.
and then ran the show from behind the scenes
I would argue that, and I don't even understand why they even attempted to make Kamala Harris their next president. Like, that
because
doesn't
they
make
had to
sense.
do something because Joe's health was deteriorating so fast that they knew they couldn't get him elected.
You know what I honestly think they should have done is I think that they should have convinced Hakeem. I think his name's Hakeem Jeffries or whatever. Hakeem Jeffries. He's basically the Democrat. He's in the House for the Democrats, either the House or the Senate. I don't know. I'm not very educated on my Democratic congressmen and women,
Anyway,
but
so,
anyways,
yeah.
my point is they should have put him in. And actually, I would not be surprised. Mark my words, he is going to run for president. I would not be surprised. But anyways, I agree with you, Brian. I do. I just think Trump is always going to have more repercussions because he spends literally 80% more time in front of the camera than Biden did. Actually, 100% of the time more. Let's be honest.
All right. Let's see what
Okay,
you got.
so China announces 30 34% retaliatory tariffs on the United States imports taking effect on April 10th, barely 48 hours after Trump reciprocal tariffs announcements. Okay, so that's huge. Okay. Now, are they bluffing on that or not? That's the question. I don't know. Like, because we'll see if that happens. All right. I think it's a potential bluff. We'll see. Or it's just basically two countries trying to separate themselves from each other, basically. Bitcoin price remains on the back foot. This was yesterday, by the way. Friday was 91 million in Bitcoin long positions liquidated in the last 24 hours. So you want to talk about a crap ton of money getting liquidated? It's all of these people that are doing these trades with what's it called? Help me out here. It's
Bots?
not
No.
bots. It's leverage trading is what I'm saying. You have so
Oh
much
yeah, they're
leverage
getting
trading going
liquidated.
on,
Yeah.
and then things get liquidated, and then that just affects the price horrendously. So liquidation map data shows that the bull traders risk losing another 793.4 million if the Bitcoin price plunges below 81,000. So think about this for a second, okay?
Well, that's happening.
Yep, it is. So
I
yeah,
don't
exactly.
have to think.
Yeah,
That's
you don't have to
happening.
think, it's
Let me
happening.
see.
So
Bitcoin's at 82,593. Yeah, it's gonna go between. You watch.
yeah,
I don't know. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin goes below 80,000 by Monday morning at 6 a.m.
I wouldn't be surprised either, honestly. So hey, there you go. There's a potential swing
Ooh,
trade for
I
you
tell
over
you
the
right now,
weekend.
just a price update. Syrup, it's at below 11 cents. If I see it go down below 10 cents, buy more syrup.
Bada bing, bada boom. So
Yep.
China retaliates with a 30% tariff as U.S. trade wars escalates, impacting Bitcoin's market on Friday. We all know this stuff. Basically,
Yep.
I just wanted to see if there was any news about why. Bitcoin price has been. I honestly think that you and I had a better conversation than what I'm reading here on the actual tariffs. They're just giving us the actual news. So yeah, so this is kind of just backing up. We'll see if it happens. Okay, we will see if it happens. Today's the 5th. We got 5 days to see if China's going to actually implement a 34% tariff.
Yeah, I'm curious, but definitely, we definitely need to have impose more tariffs because USA has been definitely been taken advantage of. Definitely.
Of
Because
course
we're
they
so
have.
prosperous of a country. So
And
people
I'll
feel
tell you
like we
right
should
now,
give more.
if China follows through with a 30+% tariff, I don't know if it's specifically on the US or if it's all countries, but I think it's just the US, obviously. What you're going to see is you're going to see people pulling out of China and they're going to start manufacturing in North America because in addition to Donald Trump's tariffs that he's putting on all these countries, he's rewarding people that are manufacturing in the United States.
So, but the problem is what happens if, just say, BIC manufacturing happens in China, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we don't have any BIC manufacturing plants in the United States.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take for us to start producing big pens in the United States? So there's going to be some growth. There's going to be growing pains.
That's where the growing pains are happening
Right.
now.
So because we gotta, if we don't have the factories or the tooling or the stuff in place to make whatever is being, taxed with the higher tariff so we can make it in this country, then there's definitely going to
Oh,
be some growing pains.
yeah. I mean, dude, let's be honest. Like, I
But
mean, I
but you got to start somewhere. So I'm all for the growing pains.
well, the growing
I'm
pain
all
take
for that.
went to Whole Foods the other
Just
day to buy eggs. Okay. The price of eggs have gone down. There's no question. But guess what? I was only allowed to buy
two
12
dozen,
eggs. One
only
dozen.
12.
I was only allowed to buy a dozen eggs. They said you can come back tomorrow and buy another dozen. You can come back the next day after that and buy another dozen. But we are in an egg shortage right now. And the reason why is because the price of eggs have gone down and it's the supply and demand is getting all effed with right now, So
Yeah,
it's
and
just
they
what it
also
is.
said that there were some egg producing companies or whatever that the bird flu went through and a lot of chickens had to be killed as well.
Yeah, I don't
So I
yeah.
heard something
It could
about
be
that
true. I
that
don't
was
know.
contributing to the
They'll
egg
say
shortage as
whatever they
well.
need to say to make everybody, understand what needs to happen, blah blah blah. I don't even know. Like but yeah, you could be right. I mean, that could actually be the case. That maybe there actually was, I don't know.
Yeah,
But all I know is that we're making America great again. I believe that.
we are. And I just really think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are just the strong projects, the legitimate projects are definitely still holding their own. Nothing's changed with the fundamentals. So with this downtrend, take advantage of great buying opportunities. That's what I'm doing. So anyway,
That's awesome, man.
that's all I got for today,
Well,
Cody.
dude, I think we're gonna end with that. I think that's great. That's a great way to end it. And hey, guys, if you could do us a huge favor, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification. Brian and I will definitely get back to doing these Saturday calls. We've been both very busy. We'll be putting out some more videos, but man, I would love it if you guys would actually give us some ideas on certain
On
kinds of,
videos or something you
yeah,
want us to do a
what do you
video
guys
on.
want to do?
What coins or
Right.
general market sentiment, whatever.
And also, in addition to that, I would love to have you guys on the live with us. If you guys are interested, we would love to just have our community with us on these lives because it's called Bitcoin fam for a reason. You know, it's not just Cody and Brian. It's Bitcoin fam. We want you guys to be a part of it. So if you want to be on this live with us, let us know. We'd love to have you guys on. And yeah, anyways, hope you guys have an awesome day and
Yep.
we'll chat with you guys